Oh yeah. Welcome to another session of Let's Study and Read the Scriptures. I am your host, Kaluka Solo, Y Otito. Some of you know me as Older Producer. And what we're going to be doing today, we're going to be going back over Jubilees 8. We're going to be going back over Jubilees 8 and let me see. Gotta make sure my internet is up. And let me just make sure my internet is good, and then we good to go. Okay, so my internet is up. Let's go here. Give me 1 second, y'all. We're gonna begin to going on in just a second. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's do this. Okay. All right, so we're doing a recap. Of what we talked about last time. The revelation of Jubilees. Okay. Between the when the lands were divided between Shem, Ham, and Japheth. All right. So what I'm going to be doing today, I'm going to be bringing my proof for the things that I said last week. The week before last. So it's basically like checking my work. And we're going to briefly get into Shem's land, but not too deep. But just a little bit, okay? Because there's some things that I still need to look up in regards to that. But right now, it is very clear how the lands were cut out based on the book of Jubilees, chapter 8 and 9. Okay, so let's get back to where we were. All right. Let's start at Jubilees 8 and verses 18. And there came forth on the writings. Let me blow this up a little bit more. Okay, so we can see that real good. All right, there we go. All right. And there came forth on the writings as Shem's lot, the middle of the earth, which he should take as an inheritance for himself and for his sons for the generations of eternity, from the middle of the mountain range of Rapha, from the mouth of the water, from the river Tina. Okay, so that's our starting point there. Let's bring that up. All right, so this is what it's going to look like when it's all over with. The blue represents Ham's land, and the orange represents Shem's land. And it starts at the mountain Rapha. It's right over here. It's right over here in Somali. Okay, then it goes to the river, Lake Tana, then to the Blue Nile. What you gonna see? I'm just getting ahead of myself here. So let's go to, and I got markers set at every point to show where each stop was. Okay. All right. So the mountain Rafak is missing the text is missing the Q. So I got the mountain Rafak right here in Somaliland. You can pull up a map. It's in Somalia, okay? And not too far from it, you will see Lake Tana, okay, as you can see here. What's going on, brother? Okay. From there, you can see Lake Tana, as you can see right there, Lake Tana. In the text, it has Tina, so there's like a small difference in the letter. Okay, so let's get back to the text. All right. And it says, and his portion goes towards the west through the midst of this river, and it extendeth till it reaches the water of the abyss, out of which this river goeth forth. All right, so when I translated this word abyss, this is what we have for the translation of abyss. So I did this. I went to Strong Concordance, and when we pulled up the abyss, we got this word here. Okay, it's M, G, then an A, and a few other letters. All right, I want you to keep that in mind. Maga, they pronounce it as an H, but it's really a G. Maga. Okay, Maga. Maga. Mana. All right, something like that. All right, so now let's look at this here. What the people of Uganda call the river. So right here is Umuga. Umuga. Okay? See that close relationship in the sound? The river Nile in Uganda is called Umuga. Okay? And that's sort of like the translation of the word abyss. Okay? Just a little difference. But kind of like the same. This is like two words here. You notice when you do the transliteration, sometimes they may have some of the words cut off in the real world. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so that's how I came up with the abyss is the river Nile. All right, so let's go back to the text. Let's go back to the text. Okay. And his portion go towards the west through the midst of this river, that's the Blue Nile, and it extended till it reaches the water of the abyss, out of which this river goeth forth. Okay? And poureth its water into the sea Miat. And this river floweth into the great sea. All right? So let's look at a map. Look at the map. Okay. Zoom in a little bit. And my internet is mad slow. That's Lake Tina over here. Lake Tina. And you got the Blue Nile coming out of it. Okay. It goes this way. That one you can't see too good. You gotta zoom all the way in. Anyways, it runs this way and then it comes up this way. And then it runs into the Nile River. Let me see if I can pull up a picture to get a clearer view on this right here. Let's see here. This is a better, clearer view of how it runs. Lake Tana, Blue Nile, and it runs up to the Nile River, which is the abyss. Okay. All right. So the Nile River is the abyss, and it says that river pours into the Sea Miyat, which is the Mediterranean Sea. Okay, it's almost easy to see because, hold on one second here. It's kind of easy to see because when you look how it's spelled, Miyat, it's like it just cut the word off short. What is it's like hyphenated the D in medit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know how to say that, but they kind of shortened the word, So it's the Mediterranean Sea. And this river floweth into the Great Sea. Okay? Now, the Great Sea is the Atlantic Ocean. Let me bring forth my proof. Let me bring forth my proof. 1 second, y'all. Okay, that's the Blue Nile. That's how it really looks, right? It's big river, right? Like that. That's how that thing look right there. All right. I'm getting ahead of myself. All right. From that Great Sea Atlantic, the whole distance as far as Constantinople is 3,100 miles. I got this out of a book that I'm reading. They got a little bit more information in it, ancient text wise, right? But as you can see here, from that Great Sea, the Atlantic, in parentheses, right? So the Atlantic is considered the Great Sea. All right. Let's go back to the text. And it pours its waters into the Sea Miyat, which is the Mediterranean Sea. And this river floweth into the Great Sea, which, as we just saw, is the Atlantic Ocean. Okay. And all that is towards the north is Japheth, and all that is toward the south belongs to Shem. Right? So that's real easy to figure out right there. Everything above the Mediterranean Sea belongs to Shem. Everything above the Mediterranean Sea is Japheth. It's up here, it's all of this, and everything below it is Shem's. Okay? Now, this western part over here is also considered the Mediterranean Sea. But if you look at the old maps, in some maps, it may say Ha Gadol, which is what they consider Hebrew for a great sea. Okay. All right. But let's continue reading. Okay. And it extendeth till it reaches Carasso. This is in the bosom of the tongue which looks towards the south. All right. So going back to the map, we zoom in into the area of the Gibraltar. And what do we have? We have the Bay of Al-Kharas. There it is, there right there, folks. Dude, I gotta blow that up some. Can you see that? The Bay of Al-Kharas. All right. It just disappeared. Where'd it go? Okay. But yeah, it's the Kharas. All right. I don't know where it went though. It just disappeared. But you can see even on the side, Al-Kharas. They want to hide that thing so bad. The Al-Kharas. Okay. There it go right there. It's back. The Bay of Al-Kharas. All right, let's see if I can blow it up. You see that? The Bay of Al-Kharas, right there. It's at the tongue that looks towards the south. The tongue means a strip of land. Okay? Let's get that in Google. Right quick, let's get that in Google. Let me see. Tongue. Look that up. The definition of the word tongue. Okay, here we go. Number 8. You can see number 8. A long, narrow strip of land projecting into a body of water. Right? We looking up this is the definition of tongue. A long, narrow strip of land projecting into a body of water. Right? So when we go back to the text, and it extended till it reaches Carasso. This is in the bosom of the tongue which looks towards the south. Let's go back towards the map. See that strip of land? It's looking towards the south, and Carasso is right in this bosom. You know, just like it said it would be. A bosom. Everybody know what a bosom is, right? It's right up in there. It's right up in there. Okay? Right up in the bosom. All right. So let's continue the journey. All right. And his portion extendeth along the great sea, and it extendeth in a straight line till it reaches the west of the tongue, which looketh towards the south. All right. So it says his portions extend along the great sea, right? So we know what the great sea is already, right? That's the Atlantic Ocean. So it extends along the great sea, which is the Atlantic Ocean, right? Then once it gets to a certain point, it says, and it extends in a straight line till it reaches the west of the tongue, which looketh towards the south. All right. So it goes over here, and it extends till it reaches the west of the tongue, which looks towards the south. Hold on, let's go back to the text again. Which reaches the west of the tongue, which looks towards the south. For this sea is named the tongue of the Egyptian sea. Okay? So, again, that would be right here. So let's go in a straight line till it reaches over here, the end of the Niger River. Okay? That's where it's going, right here, to the end of the Niger River. West of the Niger River, right? Because the Niger River is the river of Egypt. I'm going to bring my proof of that. It's in one of my books. I got to find it, you know what I'm saying? But I'm going to find it and post it probably on a later date when I find it. I told you I'm doing this now with even having all of my stuff with me and all that kind of stuff, because of some tribulation I've been going through as a result of the stuff like this, being able to translate a different translation and all of this. All right, religious persecution at its finest, you know what I mean? West of the tongue of the sea, let's go back because I don't want to jack that up. For this sea is the name of the tongue of Egypt, right? So we're west of it. And then it says, and it turns from here towards the south, towards the mouth of the great sea, on the shore of its water, and it extends to the west to Afra. Now, if you notice, he's got the hyphenated by that Afra. Okay? It's got that little hyphen by Afra. That means it's some missing letters in that thing, right? Right. So let's go to what it is. And what they're trying to denote here is that is Biafra. Let me see. Oh, where we at? Okay, here we go. The Biafra. They call it now the Bight of Bani. All right, the Bight of Biafra, also known as the Bight of Bani. Can y'all see that? Let me blow that up a little bit. The Bight of Biafra, also known as the Bight of Bani. It is the bight off the west central African coast in the innermost part of the innermost part of the Gulf of Guinea. All right, you see that? The Bight of Biafra, also known as the Bight of Bani. It is a bight off the west central African coast in the easternmost part of the Gulf of Guinea. All right, so let's look at that on a map. Let's look at that on the map. All right. So we zoom in here. All right, there you go, right there. The Bight of Bani. The Bight of Bani, also known as what? The Bight of Biafra. That's this original name. So we going from here, we turning south to here, to the west of the Bight of Biafra. This area right here, right? Now let's see what else it say. And it extends till it reaches the water of the river Gihon, and to the south of the waters of Gihon, to the banks of this river. Okay, so we going down to the Gihon River, which is the Congo. It's the Congo River. It starts somewhere around here. Okay, so we're going to trace that all the way to the south of it. That's what the direction says. Let me see if I got something on there right quick. I should have had that on here. I don't know why I don't. Somewhere in here, somewhere. Uh-oh. Where is it at? Okay, I'm trying to see so you can see the Congo a little bit more a little more closer. All right. So as you can see how the Congo runs. So the text says we're going to the River Gaihan, which is the Congo River. In my estimation, that's the only thing that it could be. Let me show you why I believe so. Let's go to the word Gaihan. All right. We look at Gaihan. Let me close this one out because it's easier to see from over here. Okay, so when we go to Gaihan, is G, I, and then this character right here is a K. Could be a Z sometimes, but normally is a K. Okay, and then you have here the O, the N. So it's Gikang. If you know the African language, they usually have that ing on a lot of words. So this would be Gikongo. Gikongo. All right. Not Chan, not Han, but Gikon. Gikongo. It's the Congo River. All right. You can take that one to the bank. All right, let's go back to the text. All right, so we're going to the Congo River. As you can see, that picture is a little bit more clearer than the map. I have to zoom in to try to find it. But we follow that around till it goes to the south. Okay, so it goes down here, down to almost by Malawi, Zambia, right? So follow it all the way to Zambia, followed it around to Zambia, because that's what the text say to do. Okay, let's go back to it. And it extended till it reaches the water of the river of Gaihan, and to the south of the waters of Gaihan, and to the banks of this river. So, like I said, we following the Gaihan all the way till it reaches to the south. And then it says it extends towards the east till it reaches the Garden of Eden. Okay. Until it reaches the east, till it reaches the Garden of Eden, to the south thereof, to the south, and from the east of the whole land of Eden, and the whole cast, and it turneth to the east. Okay. And it proceeded till it reaches the east of the mountain named Rapha, and it descended to the bank of the mouth of the river Tina. This portion came forth by Lot for Shem and his sons, that they should possess it forever unto his generation forevermore. All right, so we follow that Gaihan, the Congo, all the way. You know what I'm saying? To the end of it is somewhere around here. And then it says to the south of the garden. We know this is the garden over here because all the water is coming from out of this area. So to the south of the garden, all right, we going back there, and then we go to the east, back up to Rapha Mountain, which is up here, okay, and then back to Lake Tina, which is right here. All right. And what that would look like on the map. So I drew that out. Let's see. Let's go here. Let's go. That will look like this when it's done. See, I did it point by point. As you can see, the Rafak Mountain right there, Lake Tina right there, the Blue Nile, okay, to the River Abyss right there, to which is the Nile, and then it turns to the river Miat, which is Mediterranean Sea, to the Great Sea. We've seen that the Great Sea is the Atlantic Ocean. And then it says, made a little pit stop right here in the Karas, which is over here by the Gibraltar. Okay, in the bosom of it, we saw that. And then it continues along in the Great Sea, which is the Atlantic. We go all the way around, and it said it proceeds in a straight line to the west of the tongue, which looks towards the south. And he said, for that sea is the Egyptian Sea. And so that's what we did. We stopped right here at the Niger River, which is the river of Egypt. Okay, then go back south. Made a pit stop right quick at the Bight of Biafra. See that point right there? To continue down to the Gaihan, which is the Congo. Followed it around to the south. Then went east of it. Then back to the Rafak Mountain. Now, when we look at the other lands like Ham and Japheth, it's going to show this outline exactly that Shem's land has been proven. You know what I'm saying? But it also tells you where Ham's land is and Japheth's land is, because a lot of people had assumed that the continent of Africa was Ham's land. Ham did get a portion of of Africa, the southern portion of it, as we're going to read in a minute. But his portion carried over into South America, and we're going to see that too. So let's continue to read it. Okay. And it says, nor rejoice for that portion for Shem. And he remembered all that was spoken from his mouth in prophecy, for he said, blessed be the Lord God of Shem, and may the Lord dwell in the dwelling of Shem. And he knew that the Garden of Eden is the holies of the holies, and the dwelling of the Lord, and Mount Sinai, the center of the desert, and Mount Zion, the center of the navel of the earth. These three were created as holy places facing each other, right? So we already know we're in the right place because the center of the earth is the equator, right? So let's see. Let me grab that right quick. The center of the earth is the equator. Where is my snaps? All right, you see that line right there going through? That's the middle. That's the equator. That's the center of the earth. You know what I'm saying? With that line going through it, But here's it. Let me see if I can find a better picture for that. This is a better one. You see that line going through the middle? That's the center of the earth. So it's really obvious, what Shem's land is. And then that's going east to west. From north to south, the prime meridian goes down this way right here, right through Ghana, right this area right here where my mouse is pointing. That's the prime meridian going from north to south. So by all accounts, Africa is the center of the earth, the continent of Africa, okay, which is the land of Shem. Okay, so let's get back to the text. Let's look at Ham's land so we can verify that we did this route correctly. Okay, and in the following text where it says, in the whole land of Edom, and the whole land of the Red Sea, and the whole land of the East, and India, we're going to find that it's not talking about the continent of India, but India on the east of the continent of Africa. All right, I'm going to show that in a little bit. We're going to see that. So all the areas of Lebanon, the original Lebanon, was all in Africa. All right, and we're going to see that. All right, so Elam, all of that is in Africa. It's not in Saudi Arabia. It's not in Iran. It's not none of that. All right. All right, because then we'd be crossing territories. We'd be crossing boundaries. We'd be crossing into the land of Japheth. All right, and what you're going to see. All right, so let's look at Ham. And for Ham came forth the second portion, beyond the Gihon, which is what? The Congo River, towards the south, to the right of the garden. And it extends towards the south. So, to the right of the garden, let's look at that picture that I just had up. To the right of the garden. All right, so they had to been looking towards the south when they said this. Okay, so as we following this line, here's get the Gihon River, following it to the south, just like Shem did. Then it says here's go to the right of the garden. Okay, so that means they had to been facing south when they was given this direction. That's the only way you get right when you're going west. And west is where they're going. Let's look at the text. Okay. And for Ham came forth the second portion beyond the Gihon towards the south, to the right of the garden, and it extends towards the south, and it extends to the mountains of fire, and it extends toward the west to the sea Atel. Okay. And it extends to the sea Atel, and it extends towards the west till it reaches the sea Ma'uk. Okay, the Etel, it is it's the Ethiopian Ocean. Okay, so they cross the Ethiopian Ocean, and then it goes to the Pacific Ocean. All right, let's look at this. Let's look at this. Where my pictures at? Okay. Where we at? Okay, I'm looking for. Okay. Ed Bay, Uplands. Okay. I'm looking at another one, 'cause that one just don't tell you. Okay. In the mines of northern Edbay, or the northern Ethiopian. Okay. Now they got at L. I think that was a misprint. You know what I'm saying? Edbay or northern Ethiopia. Okay. Watch this. So it's at L. I think it's a misprint here. You know what I'm saying? Where's the other one I was looking at? Let me see the other one I was looking at. They didn't got so fed up with this. They didn't took the thing on book down. This is the one I usually use, Jubilees 8 and 9. they done took it down. They took the whole page down, yo. Is that wild or what? So, wow. Tell you, get you a book, man, because this truth right here, it's gonna hurt some people. Hold on 1 second. Yeah. It's gonna hurt some people, so they've been hiding truth for a long time. You know what I'm saying? They've been hiding truth for a long time. So let's see if they'll let me pull it up there. Okay. All right. Anyways, we can use this. It don't matter. So it's got Etel, but it's the Ethiopian Ocean, and it extends towards the west. Either way, they're going towards the west from the garden where we was looking at. Let's look at that. They're going towards the west. Okay, everybody know what west and east is. East is where the sun rises towards that way. West is where this arrow is pointing that way. Okay, so we going in the right direction. All right. So let's look at this. Look at the text again. And it extends to the mountains of fire, and it extends towards the west to the sea Etel, and it extends towards the west till it reaches the Sea of Ma'uk, that sea into which everything which is not destroyed descended. So the river Ma'uk, the Sea of Ma'uk, is the Pacific Ocean. It's been abbreviated, you know what I'm saying? Because it's a really long word. Let's look at it. And then we're going to hear how it sounds. All right, let's, where my pictures at? Okay. Let's see where we at. All right. It says Mo'ananaukia, Hawaii's first name for the Pacific Ocean. I can't even pronounce it, yo. I can see why he abbreviated it. Mo'ananaukia, Hawaii's first name for the Pacific Ocean. Okay. Let's see that here. Hold on 1 second. Okay, here's some more text on the Ma'uk. Okay, it says, this is some book I pulled up. It's called At Every Depth, Our Growing Knowledge of the Changing Oceans. It says celebrations commemorated the anniversary of the Hokulio's first trip to Tahiti. But the declaration and the celebrations also recognize that after 46 years, the mission for the canoe and its voyagers had grown. The Polynesian Voyage Society had planned a new 3-year voyage around the Pacific. The Mo'ananauki, I can't pronounce it. I see why they abbreviated. The Mo'ananaukia, this time to inspire young people who can lead the many different kinds of bold voyages our Earth needs. Okay, so the Pacific Ocean is the Ma'uk. All right, let's hear how it sounds. All right, let's hear how it sounds. All right, so this is how it sounds.
Au hea na holomoana o ke kai, o leia na kanoa wang ke ia me ka hua o lelo o ka la. Our Hawaiian word of the day is moana nui a kea. E o lelo pū kākou, moana nui a kea, kūli uhoi. Moana nui a kea is one way of referring to the vast oceanic body of water that is also known as the Pacific. Using a sentence, Nakamoana nui a kia e ho'opili mai ia kākou, which is translated as, the moana nui a kia is what connects all of us. Moana nui a kia is the greatest body of water on earth, where profound human achievement have taken place for millennia. When Hokulea raised Tahiti out of the sea in 1976, our Moana Nui a Kea connections were relashed and are being strengthened every day. E ola mau ka olelo Hawaii, na kanoa wang ke ia me ka hu.
Now you hear what he called that thing? Mana no kuakilia. You see, I cannot pronounce that word. I bet the translator probably was saying the same thing. Let me just call it the Sia Mauk. You know what I'm saying? But it sounds like he's saying Mauk. You know what I'm saying? So if you just listening, even you would say something like that. All right? So let's listen to it again.
Olelo okala. Our Hawaiian word of the day is Moana Nui a Kea. E olelo pu kākou, Moana Nui a Kea. Kuli uhoi. Moana Nui a Kea is one way of referring to the vast oceanic body of water that is also known as the Pacific. Using a sentence, Naka Moana Nui a Kea e ho'opili mai ia kākou, which is translated as, the Moana Nui a Kea is what connects all of us. Moana Nui a Kea is the greatest body of water on earth.
All right, so it's obvious, you know what I'm saying, that the river Mauk is the Pacific Ocean. So Ham's land went from, you know what I'm saying, the bottom of Africa, okay, and it went west, crossed the it was the Ethiopian Ocean at that time, now it's the Atlantic. It crossed there and went all the way to the Sea of Mauk, which is the Pacific Ocean. Okay, that's what the text say. And then it extends to the Mountain of Fire, and it extends towards the west to the Sea of Tell, and it extended towards the west till it reaches the Sea of Mauk. That sea into which everything which is not destroyed descendeth. Okay, and Ham is coming to the Mauk from the south, and Japheth is coming to the Mauk from the north, and they meet up at the Gadir, you know what I'm saying, which is the middle, the Caribbean Sea, all right, and it goes forth towards the north to the limits of Gadir, right? So he's going north in the Pacific, and you're going to see Japheth is going to be coming south in the Pacific. All right, and it goes forth towards the water of the sea to the waters of the Great Sea. So it cuts in the middle, you know what I'm saying? It goes up to Gadir, and then it heads back to the Great Sea, which is the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, until it draweth near to the river Gaihan, Congo again, and it goeth along the river Gaihan until it reaches the right of the Garden of Eden. Okay, so let's see what that looks like. Let's see what that looks like in full. All right. Let's see what that looks like in full. Let's see here. Where's my big picture? Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. I think this is it right here. All right. So this is what it would look like in, you know, real time. All right. They went, you know, Ham's land followed along the Congo River, okay, and went south to the Mountains of Fire. That's somewhere in Lesotho, okay, by the Orange River. Okay, then it takes that and crosses the Ethiopian Ocean, which is now the South Atlantic, goes all the way to the Sea of Mauk, which is the Pacific Ocean. We heard it with our own ears, Mala'aka Uka. You know, I can't pronounce it. I mean, we'll try. Okay, then it goes northward. Okay, and we know they meeting up in the middle because we're gonna see that in Japheth land, or where, you know, all the parts that he got. And then so they're going to meet up in the middle, and then they're going to head back to the Great Sea, and then back to the Gaihan, and following along to the Garden of Eden. There it is there. That's the land of Ham. Okay, and then Japheth's land, following it, right? Because I'm just doing a recap, proving the things that I said before. Because I know some people is like, well, I don't know if that's the Mo'uk is the Pacific, and it just makes it so clear. It can't be no other cutout way. If you try to cut this any other way, you're gonna run into some problems. I did this without that much effort, just by recognizing what these places are. No land is overlapping with another land. They're cut out specifically. So when we get to a part where it says something like, and it goes to India, they understand it is something that we're missing or not understanding about the territories that would cause us to believe that it's in another place when that's not the case. They move names around and different things like that, which causes a lot of confusion, and has caused a lot of confusion, to whereas now the lands are not clear. You know what I'm saying? But it's very clear. The lands didn't overlap. They made an agreement. Hey, this is what it is, right? So let's do Japheth's land. Right? Okay, and this is the land that came forth for Ham as the portion which he was to occupy for himself and his sons unto their generations forever. Okay. All right. Now we finna do Japheth. Why does this version cut out Japheth's land? This is so wild. It really did. Oh my goodness, this version it cut out a whole portion. Oh my goodness. I gotta show my book version. That's what it is. They trying to hide this thing, yo. Dang, that is crazy. Let me see if I can, the other version I was just looking at. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna have to mess around with this, cause they trying to make it disappear. Obviously, y'all see that. They trying to make it disappear. Oh my goodness. Get you a book. Get you a book. Quick, fast, in a hurry. All right, let's look at it. All right, so let's look at the Japheth part. Okay, let's see. Gaihan. All right, this portion came from Shem and his sons. All right, he knew that the Garden of Eden is the holiest of holies. Okay. Wow, they did the same thing to this one. Okay, but they got Japheth's land here. They mixed it all up. Okay. All right. Here we go. We have to find it, man. Oh my goodness, y'all. This is wild. All right. So, and it goeth forth to the coast of the waters of the sea till it draweth near to the river Gihon. This is Ham land. And it goes forth along the river Gihon till it reaches the right of the Garden of Eden. And this is the land which came forth for Ham as the portion which he was to occupy for himself and his sons until their generations forever. Now, as you can see, right after that, it's supposed to be Japheth's land. But here in this edition, they cut it out. It's not here. It's not here, y'all. You see that? It's not here. They cut a whole portion out. Oh my goodness. That is wild. It's not here, y'all. Dang. And then they shut the other site down. Ooh-wee. Y'all better, I'm telling you, get a book. They're trying to hide the truth. All right, and it says, and for Japheth came forth the third portion beyond the river Tina. Right? And what was the river Tina? That is the Blue Nile, You know what I'm saying? Going up to the Nile River, right? And it says, to the north of the outflow of its water, and extends north easterly to the whole region of Gog, and to the country, to all the country east thereof. And it extends northerly to the north, and extends to the mountains of Kelt towards the north, and towards the sea of Ma'uk. So let's look at this map. I'm telling you, this is some good stuff right here. Listen, and this is just generalized. Then it's going to give some more details, right? So he said, there go on the other side of the river Tina, right? They got the north and everything eastward, the land of Gog and all of that, and towards the north, towards the Celts, which is over here, towards the Ma'uk Sea, which is all the way over here, right? I mean, we just following with the course. You know what I'm saying? And then to the river, to the Gadir, which is that center part, and then back to the Mediterranean Sea. All right. And this sends, it's like it says, to the mountains of Kelt towards the north, and towards the sea of Ma'uk. Remember, the Ma'uk is the Pacific, so they're coming from the north to the Sea of Ma'uk, which is Pacific, and then it goes forth to the east of Gadar. Then it's the Caribbean. It's probably some particular point in the Caribbean Ocean, and we know this is true because the seventh portion of Japheth was 4 islands in this area. Okay, and it says as far as the region of the waters of the sea, and it extends till it approaches the west of Farah, and it returns to Apharaj, and it extended easterly. Now it's going back east to the waters of the Sea of Mi'at, which is the Mediterranean Sea. Okay, and it extended to the region of the river Tina in the northeasterly direction until it approaches the boundary of its waters towards the mountain of Rapha. Okay, the boundaries of its water is somewhat the Red Sea, the Indian Ocean. Okay, and it turns round towards the north. This is the land which came forth for Japheth and his sons, and his portion in his inheritance, which he should possess for himself and his sons, right? For their generations forever. 5 great islands and a great land in the north, right? So that's let me see, do they got the next chapter on here? Okay. And it says, and Ham divided amongst his sons the first portion came forth for Cush towards the east, and to the west of him for Mizraim to the west, and west of him put, and to the west of him thereof on the sea for Canaan. So if we're looking at that on a map, let's get that big map again that shows all the land. Let's get that one again. So it would look something like this. Cush got this area where my hand is at, right? Cush will get that, okay? Cush will get this part right here, okay? And then next to him would be Mizraim, what they call Mizraim. Okay, he would get that portion, so I guess it would bleed over into South America. All right, that's probably how that prophecy come along. I'm gonna send you to Egypt again with ship, which is, as they say, is Mizraim. So, but it translates as something else. But I'm just using it for because that's the name everybody can relate to. The next to it would be Punt's area. Okay, that would be like central South America, and to him, next to him on the sea, this area right here in Hawaii, that would be for Canaan. That's where they were supposed to be. That's where Canaan was supposed to be, but they didn't want to go over there for whatever reason. That's where they were supposed to be. All right, so let's look at this. Let's go back to the text again. All right, now this is where it gets confusing at. when they began to divide up Shem's land, and then they use terms like the whole land of India. Okay, so we got to look at that differently, based on how the lands were cut out, because everybody stayed within their confines, you know what I'm saying? Because they said afterwards, so let it be. And this is the way it is. Anybody who would take somebody else's land, what the word, I think it said they were going to be cursed or something like that, right? All right, you can read it for yourself. I think it's at the end of that chapter, the last one. All right, and it says, and for Shem, this is, I guess, a typo right here. And for Shem, also divided amongst his sons. The first portion came for Elam and his sons to the east of the river Tigris, till it approaches the east, the whole land of India, and on the Red Sea on its coast, and the waters of Dedan, and all the mountains of Membri and Elah, in the land of Suzan, and all that is on the side of Fernach to the Red Sea. So, you know, Elam did not get from the continent of India all the way to the Red Sea. Come on, man. One, we are already in somebody else's territory. That's in Japheth's territory, so that's just not possible. So it's something some information we missing in order to keep him within the borders of Shem. You know what I'm saying? The whole land of India. So let's look at this. I think I got something here on that. Give me a second here, y'all. I think I got something here on that India thing. So we can clear up that little bit of information. Let me see. I think I got it right here. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. Right here. It says, thence Al... and I will use the next one. Let's see. And it says, thence to Al Gingala is a voyage of 15 days, and about 1,000 Israelites dwell there. Thence by sea to Chilan is 7 days, but no Jews live there. From there it is 12 days to Zebid, where there are a few Jews. From there it is 8-day journey to India, which is on the mainland called the land of Aden. So India is called the land of Aden. Now, this is really going to help out because Aden is on the current map, right? We know Aden is somewhere on the current map right now. Let's pull it up. Let's look at it. Google Maps right now in its current state. We're going to look at the east coast of Africa, and what we got? We got the Gulf of Aden right there. Okay, so the whole land of India is somewhat Aden. This was the land of Aden at one time. This is Elam's land. Obviously, they changed the names and things of that nature, but this was Elam's land right here on the east coast of Africa. All right, and if you do the transliteration, you can even see his name in certain parts. All right, this was his hometown. All right. Now they want you to focus on Aden over there or whatever, but this was the Gulf of Aden right here. This is India. This is the real India right here off this coast. Right off the Red Sea, just like it says. Okay, and Suzan is over this way too. This is where the Persians were, over in this area right here. Okay, I got this information in some other books. I told y'all I'm traveling light right now because of my situation. I'm just not pulling out my hat stuff like and guessing like some people think I'm doing, but that's not the case. You know, my last video a few years back when I did Beyond the Rivers of Ethiopia, yeah, I was opinionated on was Africa the Holy Land. I said it wasn't at that time. I said I didn't believe it at that time. I didn't have no information, nothing to point me to that it was. But then shortly after I did that video, I think maybe about 2 or 3 months, it wasn't long, about 3 months after, I came across a book, and it said that the river Niger was the river of Egypt. I'm gonna post that text when I find it. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm dealing with a lot. You know, I have all my notes stolen. My computer crashed. You know what I'm saying? They crashed my computer out. They stole my notes, stole some of my books. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they didn't really want this to come out. And I'm still getting tortured in a particular way, you know. But this is the land of India, okay? Not to digress, not to go into all of that right now. This is the land of India, Aden, as it is called, on the east coast of Africa, okay? All right, so we're sticking within the confines of Shem. You feel me? You know, everybody, this map mapped out perfectly. You know, I didn't have to make anything up. It was all there. You just needed to research a few things, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, but it was all there. All right, let's go back to the text. All right. So he got the whole land of India, the waters of Dedan, all the mountains of Mibri and Elah and the land of Susa. As we can see, there's plenty of mountains right there. I think these are the mountains of Mibra and Elah. You know what I'm saying? And it says the river Tina was in that territory. Let's look at it. Let's look at the text. Okay, and on the Red Sea on this coast, and the water of Dedan, and all the mountains of Mibri and Elah, and the land of Susan, and all that is on the side of Fernak to the Red Sea, and the river Tina. The first thing that we pointed out when we started this video. So what we looking at? We looking at the land of India, or Elam's land. The first portion for the sons of Shem is right here on the east coast of Africa, where Lake Tina is. Okay, where the Gulf of Aden is, all of that, where the Red Sea is. That is Elam's land. Okay, now maybe one day I'll do another video where I can draw it out and highlight it and stuff like that, but you know, I'm short on time and stuff like that right now. I'm dealing with a lot, but yeah, that's the area. All right, let's go back to the text. And then it says for the second portion, all the land of Ashur and Nineveh and Shinar to the border of India, and it ascendeth and skirteth the river. Okay, so you know the river now it ascends. Let me look here. It ascends, and we look closely here. I don't know if it's going to show it here on this map. Let me see. The White Nile, we got White Nile. I'm trying to follow the White Nile to where it says the Upper Nile. All right. I think I took a picture of that thing because I don't want to be looking for that. That thing could take forever. I don't know where the picture at. Let me see. About 100%, I screenshotted that thing. Okay, I don't want to spend too much time looking for it because I'm just not as organized as I would like to be. Yeah, I'm not as organized as I would like to be. But the River Nile ascends. You know what I'm saying? That's a big, goes up. You know what I'm saying? It says it ascends and skirts the river, so it's hugging the River Nile. All right, and in this land, Ashur's land pushes up to the land of India. Okay, so if we was to look at that, it would look something like this. Elam got this part right here. Ashur would get this part right here. You know what I'm saying? Next to him, right? Okay. And then it says, for Apakshad came forth the third portion, all the land of Chaldeans to the east of the Euphrates. To the east of you. So it's not what they think it is, like the current modern view, east of the Euphrates. They're saying the east of Euphrates. Some people would believe that the east of the modern Euphrates, which is over like Iran or somewhere, that's still Shem's land. No, we would be crossing the border. We would be crossing into other lands, right? And the Euphrates don't border the Red Sea, as it says here. So you can tell that what they believe is the Euphrates is off. It says, in the land of the Chaldees to the east of the Euphrates, bordering on the Red Sea. It's telling you the Euphrates borders the Red Sea. Okay? Now, I got to do a little bit more research on Euphrates like that. I got some ideas what it is. I don't want to say right now. I like to have my I's dotted and my T's crossed. So when I say something, I learned the lesson. Don't speak so fast on stuff, because you might have to, you know what I'm saying, swallow that junk. You know what I mean? You might have to eat that thing and admit you was wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like I did in the Beyond the Rivers of Ethiopia. I was at that point juncture. I didn't believe that Africa was the land. And saying, but shortly after that, did that video, I read a book where that had, and I was just after that more clues, and it was like, dang, this is it. You know what I'm saying? So here we are. Okay, and it says, bordering the Red Sea and all the waters of the desert, close to the tongue of the sea, which looks towards Egypt, and all the land of Lebanon, Sinai, Ammana, to the border of Euphrates. So, in my estimation, based on some of the knowledge I have and the things I know, we looking at this whole area right here, Arphaxad. You know what I'm saying? This is his territory. You know, I still am not sure what the Euphrates is. I'm going to find out, though. I have an idea. You know what I'm saying? I just don't want to say it right now. You know, so we're looking at this area right here for Arphaxad. All right. And can y'all see my mouse? I think y'all can. Yeah, so it's like the middle of Africa. You know what I'm saying? All this area right there. Yeah, because Lebanon, all of that would be over here. In my estimation. You know what I'm saying? Based on the information that I've accumulated. All right. All right. And for Lud, the fifth portion came to the mountain of... and Aram, they came to fourth portion. All the land of Mesopotamia and the Tigris and the Euphrates, to the north of the Chaldees, to the border of the mountains of Ashur and the land of Arah. Okay, so I have an idea for Tigris too. I don't want to say it right now because I'm not 100% sure. You know what I'm saying? I'm not 100% sure. I wish I was, though, because I want to say it, but I'm not sure. But we got to remember what we're looking at, right? You know, the land of Shem. He's got a nice big land there. So, trying to bring up that one picture. Not that one, this one. It's got a big land here that goes all the way down here. Okay, so we can't forget that area either. The Zambezi River, you know what I'm saying, and all of that. So I'm not sure about the Tigris and the Euphrates. I read something that says the Pison was the Nile, but I'm going to be honest with you. I question that one. That's why I haven't presented the Nile as the Pison, because I'm questioning, is that true? I need some more information, you know what I'm saying? All right, so let's look. Where we at? Back to the book. Okay. All right. And the Lord came the fifth portion, the mountains of Ashur, all pertaining to them, till it reaches the great sea, and till it reaches east of Ashur his brother. All right. And Japheth also divided the land of his inheritance among his sons. And the fourth portion came forth for Gomer to the east, from the north side of the river Tina. And in the north they came forth for Magog, all the inner portions of the north, till it reaches to sea Miat. And for Medad came forth his portion, that he should possess from the west of his two brothers to the island and to the coast of the islands. Okay, now this version don't say all the way. This version doesn't say that that Gomer got all. Well, it does. It says, and the first portion came forth for Gomer to the east, from the north side of the river Tina. So let's go back to that picture again. Where we at, right? Okay, so there's River Tina right here, right? The north of everything, right? So they got all of this going east. That's Gomer. All right, that's Gomer. And I can prove it too. As a matter of fact, let's go here. Let's go to the table of the nations right quick. Okay. Just right fast, because last time I didn't translate Ashkenaz, and I want to translate it today. All right. And the sons of Gomer, but as we can see Gomer names on the map currently in Saudi, Saudi Arabia, in that area over there. Let's look at it on the map. Right. So I translate Gomer as Gomen, not Gomer, but Gomen. That R is in Gomen, then you got Yemen and all of that. So this is Gomer right here. You know what I'm saying? And it's accurate. Is to the north of the River Tina to the east. That's it. It's Gomer's area right here. And then you got his son all to the east, going all the way to the east. Rifeth, I don't know how you say it in English, Rifeth, and then Ashkenaz, this would be these guys right here. All right, that's these guys, Ashkenaz right here. Okay, going towards Thailand and all of that, that's Tergamah. All right, let me give you the translation of Ashkenaz right quick, so y'all be thinking, I don't know what I'm talking about. All right, so for Ashkenaz, I got Kasakanaz, That's similar to what they call Kazakhstan and all of them, you know what I'm saying, places. You know what I mean? All of them to stands places. All right, that might be a T. I'm not 100% sure what that last letter was. I was still needed some confirmation on that one. Kazakhstan, so I know what that part is. Kazakhstan, and then sometimes you got this S is as a G, so it'd be Kagakanaz, the Caucasus. All right. So you got Kazakh, and you know you heard that name before, Kazakhstan. All right, let's look at the map. Let's look back at the map. You see, there go Kazakhstan right there. See what I'm saying? These are the sons of Gomer. Right? Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan. You know, that's them. You know what I'm saying? Hands down. Right where they supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Then next to him is his brother Rifat. You know what I'm saying? That translation turned out to be Likpal. When you look up the head of that country, they're called the Lokpal, Lokpal. They're the defenders of the law in the country, you know what I'm saying, of India. All right, so they took the name India from over here, Aden, and put it over here. That's some wild. So that would be causing that confusion. And Togarmah, that's over here. That's not its real name, Togarmah, but that's what they translated in English. Okay, that's all of that's towards the east, right? Towards the north and east is the Magog that comes to the Miat. So all of that is Magog. All right. That's how it is explained in the book of Jubilees. Okay, and in the north came forth from Magog and all the inner portions of the north till it reaches the sea of Miat. All right, and from Magog came forth his portion that he should possess the west of his two brothers to the islands and to the coast of the islands. And for Javan came the fourth portion, every island and the islands which are towards the border of Lud. Okay, that's easy. All right, so Madai would get next to Gog and Magog and his brothers, his two brothers. He would get this right here. He would get this area right here. You know what I'm saying? And then the Medes got next to him, the islands. That's what it's. Hold on, let me make sure I got that right. Oh, Mede got next to him. Okay. All right. So the Medes got this. This is supposed to be the Medes' land right here. All these right here. And then Javan got this right here, Greece. I don't know if he got Italy. I don't want to just % sure about that. And for Javan came forth portion of every island and the islands which are towards the border of Lud. Okay. So that would be Greece. There would have to be these right here. These little islands. And Javan didn't get a lot. Alright. And he got all of this, but he didn't get a lot. Alright. In Tubal they came forth the fifth portion in the midst of the tongue, which approaches towards the border of Lud, to the second tongue, to the region beyond the second tongue, and to the third tongue. Okay? So Tubal, which could be translated as lumbar, or Lawampa, which you will find in the east coast of America. You find the Wampang Indian tribe. And I say Lawampang because let me show you. Where we at? Tubal. Tubal. Okay, see that L with that dot? So it's L, the L with the dot is like the LW together. Sometimes just pronounce as L, just skip over the L. You know what I'm saying? And then you got the M, which is the most people consider as a B. And then this right here is people consider it as an L, but it's an N. Okay, and we know this is true that they were the Indians, because in the Book of Mormons they were called what? The Lamanites. The Lamanites. That connection right there, yo. I was like, whoa. The Lamanites, and these are the people who claim that the 10 tribes that they're the 10 tribes. You know what I'm saying? I said, oh man, the Lamanites, right? It's the same. These are the same people. And the Mormons claim are the 10 tribes. Tubal, the Lamanites, which were the Native Americans on the east side of America. Okay, let's go back to the book. Go back to the book. Okay, it said, for Meshach came the 6th portion, all the region beyond the 3rd tongue, till it approaches the east of Gadar. Okay, so the Meshach, that's the Mexicans. And we know that's true. They had all the west coast of Americas. That's history. That's real history. Ain't no make-believe stuff. I ain't had to change nothing. That's real history. So Meshach is the Mexicans and the Eskimos, right? They possess everything past the Mississippi. Okay? And for tourists, there came forth the 7th portion, 4 great islands in the midst of the sea. That's the Tianos. Okay? The Tianos. Let me look. Let me pull their name up too. Tianos. Okay, so I translated this one actually 2 ways. Okay, because it can be 2 ways. I did that L as a T, Tianos, because that's what they currently use. But there's also another translation of it, and that's the L, that's the K, that's the N, that's the O, that's the Lignos. Or the Latinos. Okay, so just look that up for yourself, and you will see one of the ancient names of the Tianos is something like that. Okay, I had the proof, but I just didn't screenshot it. So I got a lot going on, you know what I'm saying? But I'm trying to help as much as I can. But they got the 4 islands. Where is that at? They got the 4 islands. Let's see, the Tianos. I'm just gonna pull that up on the internet and see what it says about them. Right quick. Taínos. All right, here it goes right here. The Taínos were the indigenous people of the Caribbean whose culture has been continued today by their descendants and by Taíno revivalist communities. Okay, they were the principal inhabitants of most of what is now the Bahamas, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Haiti, Jamaican, Puerto Rico, and the Lesser Antilles. Oh, there you go. There go that word. The Lacuyan branch of the Taínos. Remember, I just said it was I said Lucanos. That's what I said with the translation I just gave y'all. I said I couldn't quite figure it out. But look, it says the Lucayan branch of the Taínos were the first New World people encountered by Christopher Columbus. There it is there, folks. I just verified the truth. Taínos had the islands of America. That was the 7th portion for Japheth. Okay, my translation is good. It ain't perfect, but it's good. It's good enough to be able to find what I'm looking for and what you're looking for too, because we helping each other. those who are the seekers of truth, do not want to live in falsehood. You know what I'm saying? You cannot read the Bible and understand the prophecies if you got all the people wrong. You know what I'm saying? And that's the purpose of this, is to understand the prophecies. It is not to belittle anybody. It is not. I don't agree with those who say that people can't receive salvation. I believe whoever believes in the true prophet, the one who was raised from the dead, who gave us all the true laws, if you are willing to live within those true laws, you have entered into the wedding chamber, and nobody can take that away from you. It is one of the greatest sins to take away the hope of any man. And so I cannot agree with those that say they cannot be saved. You know what I'm saying? Whatever judgment is reserved for anybody is not my place, you know what I'm saying, to hum and haw on that. You know what I'm saying? My place is to try to win them over to repentance. Because all men, you know what I'm saying, have the opportunity to repent. Now, some people, they don't want to repent. They would love to continue in their thing. You know what I'm saying? But even these people that claim to repent, they're still in the midst of sin, not willing, you know what I'm saying, to leave from the table of death. You know what I mean? And so they hum and haw and bark at people, and they themselves do not subscribe to all the true laws. You know what I'm saying? Where there's no bloodshed, you know what I'm saying? And their belly is not filled with death. And that's what I had to bring to you all today. These are the revelations of Jubilees, all the lands of Ham, Shem, and Japheth. Okay. My next session, since we now understand the lands, I'm going to take it from the beginning. If I get the opportunity to come again, I'm going to take it from the beginning and show from the beginning, you know what I'm saying, so you will understand the laws from the beginning. There's a lot of information that's been skipped over and glossed over, so people don't know the true laws of God. But for all those that have the peace within them to receive the truth of God's law, the truth of the lands, the true lands of all the children of Noah, as described in Jubilees 8 and 9. Get you a book, because I'm telling you, they're going like hotcakes. They are erasing the free downloads that's been online forever. Now some people claiming they know everything about, details. I never heard anybody give the details of Africa or whose land was who. Now some of them are going to be claiming that they knew the whole time, but they never gave no details. I'm telling you, man, it's a trip. We need to stop the fussing and fighting. A lot of that is caused by, what people are pulling in their belly. They saying this is my opinion. I have not given you none of my opinions. I ain't gonna lie. I've inserted some of my opinions here and there. I ain't gonna lie. But not when it comes to the law. You know what I'm saying? Not when it comes to the law. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't even think of that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So, just like I couldn't think of this, it was right there, you know what I'm saying, waiting for somebody to understand it and to share it with the people. There it is, y'all. The revelation of Jubilees. I'm the producer, also known as Kaluka Solo Wautito, saying to all of those that have the peace within them to receive the truth, to you, I say, peace and grace. Till next time.